see it in theaters.
Neither did I.
Because I didn't really care. And it was mainly because of Terminator 3. I've been detached from the franchise for a while, but I saw this and I was like, oh my God, that was a lot more interesting than I was expecting. And one of my favorite things was that they eliminated the Terminator from Terminator 1 really fast, because I don't care about seeing them run from another Terminator for a good chunk of a movie, because I've already seen that. And the idea of doing it again seems really lazy. Like, I would have hated it if they were like just doing a rehash of the first Terminator. So when they eliminated him, I was like, okay, good. There is T-1000 in the mix. And then they got rid of him, and I'm like, thank God, we're moving on. And they move on. They jump to the future. And I was like, okay, where are they jumping to? Wow, a highway. So we're just straight up doing Sarah Connor Chronicles now.
Yes. Lifting things directly from the show.
Yes.
Which I thought was weird. I've only seen Sarah Connor Chronicles once, and I haven't seen it since it aired. But yeah, I think that's where that was in the first season that they did that. They did that right away.
That was the pilot episode, because they jumped from 1999 to 2007 to account for the fact that they don't want to do a period piece TV show on Fox that takes place 15 years before it's on the air. So.
It was a weird choice, man. It was a really weird decision. But like the when it happened in Genisys, I thought it was strange that they was kind of like Sarah Connor Chronicles, but I was also happy that they were like straight up saying, like, we're jumping past the point where we suspect Judgment Day should be. Something has happened that has changed the timeline that delays Judgment Day for about 20 years. That's significant. That's a big deal. Are they going to talk about that? Is it just that all of these Terminators are here? And then they get there, and they deal with this Genisys thing, and Skynet is being created at this point in time, and no one ever explicitly states what happened to delay Judgment Day, but we know from the previous movies that the pieces that made Judgment Day possible were the Terminator in the facility where they got the chip and they put together Skynet. Mm-hmm. So we know that happened, and we know that in this timeline that doesn't happen. So just by leaving the past and eliminating the T-800 from the beginning of the movie, they have delayed Judgment Day by 20 years. That is a significant thing. Mm-hmm. Like, that is a part of this franchise in a really weird way. They're changing the previous events by recontextualizing them. And the addition of Pops, because Pops cannot be from the same future. He has to be from another one. Then presumably he was already there. Presumably Pops was somewhere in the mix while the first Terminator was happening. Mm-hmm. Like, he was in the past participating. No T-1000 showed up to kill Sarah Connor in 1974, so what did he do? Maybe at some point in between 1974 and 1984, somebody managed to take him out. But who could have done that? I mean, maybe Matt Smith from the future. Like, there are a lot of factors at play in this movie that are very interesting. And I think that is fascinating, because to me it says that the trilogy they were planning was not only going to go into really weird places in the future, was going to go to really interesting places in the past, and recontextualize the origins of Skynet as being from the chip from Pops.
Yeah, to that point, I wanted to ask you guys, where do you think Pops came from? Because they make it a point in the movie to bring up many times. Yeah. They bring it up many times, like, I wonder where you came from. Oh, those files have been deleted. Oh, that's convenient. So it's clearly a setup for this trilogy. Also, you know, at the end of the film, they drive off like, we still have questions, and we're going to go answer them together. So stay tuned for the next 2 Terminator movies at the end. I'm like, all right. So that's the big question. Who sent Pops back in time? So I don't even have a guess. They didn't even give us any clues, I think, in this movie. So
I think there's probably a hint somewhere in this movie, and then once you got to the third one, it would have been like something was there. Like, you know, I bet you it's going to end up having been J.K. Simmons.
Why is he in this movie? Why is J.K. Simmons in this?
Because he's awesome.
Why is he not in all movies?
He's awesome.
I liked him. He brought a lot to a nothing role, but it was just...
I love that line. He wanted to get involved. He's like... I want to know, who are you people? What's going on? We're here to save the future. I can work with that. I don't know, like, he just wanted to be involved. He was already in. I don't know. I thought that was hilarious. It was
guys. I can tell you right now, if somebody shows up from the future, or just shows up and says, "I'm from the future," I'll be like, "Got it." What's up? What
His best line-
specific things do you need from me?
His best line to me was when he goes into the security room and everything's trash. He's like, time traveling robots always cover their tracks.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Guys, this movie's great.
Okay, I love discussing it with y'all. I really do. I love having this discussion. As much as I dislike the movie itself, I like talking about it with y'all.
What else is there?
But so all the conceptual time travel stuff aside, I have serious issues with the tone of this movie because it's inconsistent. Because you have, Kyle Reese, who, as established in the first film, is this like war weary guy. He's just on edge all the time. Here he's Jai Courtney. He's like super buff and he's making jokes and one-liners all the time. And him and Arnold are literally having this like macho contest the whole time. Arnold makes a joke about his private not being big. I mean, come on.
I will agree. There's something about Jai Courtney. Like, he is a good actor. Like, he's not doing.
He's great in Suicide Squad.
Yeah, he's a good actor. It's just like there is something like Michael Biehn. Like, he had this character, this style, and this kind of weird roguish attitude. Like, I'm a straight man, but like I love that guy. Like, Michael Biehn is like, he's the coolest dude in the world. And there's something about Jai Courtney. I see him and I just think, you know a lot about football and probably not much else.
Yeah, he's just a big doofus.
Yeah, he kind of has that face, and I don't think it's fair, because he's a handsome man, but he just doesn't have like a character in, like, he's got no age lines, he's got no battle scars, he doesn't seem like a soldier from the future. He seems like a soldier from the field. He seems like he's an athlete and not a warrior, and that. Maybe that's just, casting now, because Emilia Clarke is beautiful, but it's really tough to buy her as very aggressive and hardline and tough. And when she puts her foot down on something, I'm like, why?
Did you not watch Game of Thrones?
Why do I still think you're adorable?
Did you not watch Game of Thrones, Max?
I watched all of Game of Thrones.
And you're saying you can't buy Emilia Clarke as like aggressive and putting her foot down?
I'll tell you a thing. Apparently, a blonde wig goes a long way. Because that somehow transforms her from like a girl that like I might see and go like, it's cute. She's cute, and it turns her from that into like, oh, she's dangerous and powerful, and there's a lot of time that went into all them braids. She wakes up very early in the morning to get that look down. I am not going to get in her way.
Well, there are certain scenes where she does look a lot like Linda Hamilton, I think. They do a good job of making her look that way, but others she doesn't. But then you have Jai Courtney, who looks nothing like Michael Biehn, and then you have Arnold as Arnold. So there is a kind of a disconnect of, like, reboot, recast. Like, I don't know. They do this halfway thing. And, in Dark Fate, we've gone back to Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor. So we'll see if that helps me, buy into what they're trying to sell me about this being all the same characters.
Excellent. Well, we should probably talk about John Connor, eh? A little bit more?
Yes.
Like the
Yes.
What is it? I was looking online. I wish I had it down. I was looking this up. He's like a T7000 or a...
I think Matt Smith is the T3000. And then I believe John Connor is a T5000.
No, I think it's Versus then. Because the Matt Smith one is the higher one.
Let me guess. Max doesn't care about any of that.
You're not wildly off. I don't really care about the numbers that they assign to them. I mean, like, I'm more interested in, like, what Skynet's motivation is and, like, his thought process. Like, Skynet is a person, like, in a way. Like, it has agency, it has plans. Like, what is it doing? Like, what was its plan? Where did it come from? It came from a different timeline, clearly. It's come back in time, and, like, it's been lying in wait for this moment to ensure its own existence in the future and to ensure Judgment Day. It knows that it's kind of on like the edge of being eliminated because he keeps being destroyed in other timelines. So Skynet's like, all right, I got this plan. I'm gonna go back in time. I'm gonna join the resistance. I'm gonna participate in the destruction of another iteration of myself, and then I'm gonna make my move. I'm gonna get John Connor, and I'm gonna convert him to my side, and then I've really won because I take John Connor out of the equation in the future and in the past. I mean, this is a great plan, and honestly, kind of it is. Like, it is smart.
It's interesting they went back to the idea from Terminator Salvation of John Connor as a Terminator, right? That was going to be the twist at the end of that film. They go back to it here, right. Although I think it would have been more powerful if, like, you like John chose, like, if he, he was taught to be a survivor, right? So we tell Sarah, like, if he chose to, like, become part of Skynet because he thought, like, okay, this is the one way to end the war, but it's left pretty much like he got taken over and just turned crazy at this point, and there's really, like, there's no reasoning with him, and I hate how he recites Kyle Reese's monologue about the Terminator to Sarah from the first film in their conversation.
You mean the second
here.
Film?
It's from the first film. Where it's like, it's out there. It can't be reasoned with or bargained with and will not stop until you are dead, right? And it's like, hey, guys, remember that was some dialogue from the first film? That's my least favorite kind of fan service. And stuff like that was just so annoying. So John, like, I didn't buy him as a character anymore after he became a Terminator. I thought it would have been interesting if he, like, truly believed in what he was doing, but he was just generic stock bad guy Terminator. Like, there was no John Connor left in there to even, talk to.
Well, I don't think it. I think explicitly it isn't John Connor. It's a Terminator with John Connor's memories.
Well, it's almost like what the guy was in Salvation as well, to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, like, Skynet has definitely learned its lesson about making its, intelligent slaves with too much independence. Like, it has made a John Connor, like, replicant that is entirely devoted to the cause of creating Skynet and ensuring the event of Judgment Day and the annihilation of humanity and subjugating Earth under the reigns of this artificial intelligence. Like, Skynet is, I mean, it's a kind of reproduction, and it's a really interesting form of reproduction that involves time travel, and I'm on board for it because that's super weird, and I like a weird sci-fi concept of, like, an artificial intelligence that ensures its own survival through time travel. And the Terminator John Connor is a means to an end, and I don't really care that it isn't John Connor. Like, it's a Terminator with John's memories purely for the purpose of messing with Sarah and Derek. Like, Kyle, freaking Derek.
Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Sarah Connor
Derek
Chronicles.
Reese.
Like,
where is Derek Reese? Where is his brother in this movie?
Derek's already dead. Derek in this timeline, in the real world timeline where Derek, like, is older than Kyle, Derek has already, like, done bath salts and died in a road accident. So,
but hey, when they meet young Kyle Reese, though, similar to a scene in the Sarah Connor Chronicles where Derek takes John to the park and it's young Kyle playing with Derek catch.
Very conceptually similar. They do a very similar thing in 12 Monkeys. People love visiting child versions of friends and family and themselves. It's a big thing. I mean, we all want to go to the playground where we were when we were kids and go up to our childhood self and go like, kid, junior high is going to be rough. You might want to get a knife. Like, we all want that moment, but it's there's a wish fulfillment thing there, and it's weird. But, like, to me, like, the Terminator John Connor is about getting in their heads, and it does get in their heads. Like, it definitely gets into Kyle's head. Like, he has a really hard time dealing with John being a Terminator.
Because they've lived.
Because he had spent time with John Connor. Yeah, his mom doesn't know him from Adam.
Yeah, like, he's like John has to introduce himself. Like, hey, mom, it's me, your son, and she's like, sure, my son's gonna look like you.
My son's gonna look like Christian Bale.
Yeah, that honestly makes more sense considering the parents.
Right. How did you like John? Not John, but yeah, it is John. John just dropping in casual conversation, well, I got it the same way as you, Dad. And everyone's like, whoa, I'm your dad? Like, that was an odd way to reveal that to